Well, would you look at that? Looks like that line is stretching all the way down Edgewood Avenue to Cortland. These folks seem awfully eager to see the Battle of Atlanta painting. It's amazing how quickly they threw together that brand new cyclorama building. Apparently, Mr. Paul Atkinson, the entertainment promoter, had his other panorama on display in the same location, the storming of Missionary Ridge. But from the looks of this crowd, this is the panorama attraction that the city has been waiting for. Folks got on their Sunday best like it's Easter and Jesus is making an appearance. Well, you won't catch Denmark Mitchell standing in that line, especially since they've been advertising it as the only Confederate victory ever painted. Since when? You see, I saw the Battle of Atlanta painting almost 5 years ago in 1886 in Minneapolis. The paper I work for, the Richmond Planet, sent me there on assignment. It's impressive, quite a sight indeed, definitely worth standing in line for. Now we are talking about a full panorama of the Battle of Atlanta. You are completely surrounded, 360 degrees, and towering above you is 50 by 400 feet of landscape, battle, and sky. You feel like you are right in the middle of this historic battle. A battle that led to Sherman's march to the Atlantic and the subsequent end to the Civil War. A battle that the Confederacy did not win. So, why is it being advertised as such? Now, granted, as a Negro reporter, my feelings about this might be a little biased, but feelings aside, facts are facts. And the fact is, the way this painting is being advertised is a downright lie. Now, the Richmond Planet has spent the last 13 years since our inception in 1877 writing about all sorts of things. But for the past few years, there has been a particular editorial focus on the rise of artifacts, images, and symbols that seem to communicate inaccurate information about what actually happened during the Civil War. We did a series of articles on the bronze memorial of General Robert E. Lee on display in Virginia back in May 1890. When the statue was marched down the street, during the procession, there was not a single American flag in sight. All you could see were the stars and bars of that traitorous Confederate flag, and all you could hear were the shouts of the rebel yell by the mostly white Southern audiences in attendance. Now, here's a quote from our editor, John Mitchell, no relation, May 31st, 1890, about the procession. Quote, "Richmond, the capital of the late Confederacy, has been decorated with emblems of the lost cause. The honoring of the Confederacy was indulged in, while everyone in that joyous throng stood ready to declare that the South was right and the North was wrong." End quote. They love to say that they weren't beaten, but that they were overpowered. Granted, nothing as boisterous as that is happening here, but I must say I'm troubled with the way this painting is being represented. Now, I'm not even here on assignment. I came to visit family. I thought that they might be interested in visiting the Cyclorama building and seeing the painting. But from the looks of that crowd and the way that this is being advertised, I don't think that my family would be welcome. And that makes me wonder about the Negro neighborhoods right next to the Cyclorama building. Will they be welcome? It's so strange. Mr. Atkinson apparently took some artistic liberties. The painting was originally commissioned by the American Panorama Company, and it was overseen by two German artists, August Löhr and Frederick Hein. Now, these two gentlemen took great care in maintaining historical accuracy and visual detail. So, why is the painting that I saw in Minneapolis being presented in such a different way from what these folks are about to see? In the painting, there is a scene where captured Confederate prisoners are being hauled off by Union soldiers. Apparently, Mr. Atkinson decided to hire an artist to change the color of those prison uniforms to blue, so that to an unsuspecting audience, it looks as though the Union soldiers are fleeing in terror. It's amazing that such a slight change coupled with false advertisement can easily lead to a shift in perceptions. And what's potentially insidious is that these perception shifts can easily lead to a sense of false historical understanding. And that is already beginning to occur with these reunion ceremonies. White Union and Confederate soldiers coming together at memorial celebrations, at the raise of a statue or building named after a soldier that died in battle. It's a way to show the nobility of both sides, the validity of both perspectives. This is essentially what the lost cause ideology is all about. It communicates that though they lost the war, the South or Confederacy and what they stood for is somehow still noble. No wonder why there are never any Negro veterans at any of these celebrations. My father was a United States colored troop. He not only fought to serve this country, but for the liberation of his people. Where is his statue? Where are the buildings with his name on it? Where are the pieces of art that talk about the valor of Negro nurses who heal wounded soldiers in battle? Or Union spies like Harriet Tubman and Mary Bowser who risked their lives to gain vital information about what actually was happening during the war? Where are their images on that or any panorama? It is often said that history is written by those who are triumphant. But that just doesn't seem the case with the Civil War. So, I guess it's up to people like me to set the record straight. The pen is still the most powerful weapon there is.